Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage for the first round of the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying Series. This evening, this series makes its way to Virginia as we look to bring you the live coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway from Richmond, Virginia. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, including the weekly Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight's action is ARCA Menard Series racer Brandon Laster and Golic Racing's Dylan Coyle, with Brownie Cooper working the controls as our producer for tonight's coverage for the top split for race number 4 for the 2024 RTP Qualifying Series schedule. Brandon and Dylan, we've raced at 3 draft-dependent racetracks: Daytona, Las Vegas, Atlanta in the first 3 weeks. Tonight, it's the exact opposite. I turn to you first, Brandon, because tonight, heavy braking, multiple grooves, short track racing. What should we expect to see tonight, and what should the fans at home expect in turn from the top drivers having hit the brakes and hard?
Yeah, there's going to be a completely different race than what we saw the last 3 races out. First short track, second we should go to Dover in a couple weeks. So you want to kind of set that tone now. You don't want to lose a whole lot of points. Having those draft-dependent tracks, it's very easy to have a bad run and very easy to fall out of the 70-point cut or 70 driver cut line there in the point. So this is a kind of a moment where you can change your season, start building up points, going to these more skill-based tracks where you're not as reliant on luck, and maybe come out of here with a win, and being inside that bubble is key for a lot of these drivers.
And Dylan, as someone with some experience in the real world side, working with drivers, a lot of the competitors on the virtual side looking to try and get secured points here. The past 3 weeks have been very intense, to say the least. No mistakes allowed, with them being all drafting tracks and only 1 drop. Tonight could be one of the most difficult rounds yet.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct about that, Justin. And hello to all of our viewers on the iRacing social media platforms. You know, when it comes to a track like Richmond Raceway, usually we're talking about if it's a NASCAR Cup Series or NASCAR Xfinity Series subset of cars, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get the power down, everything of that sort. But a mile and a half, it's semi-normal for those series. With the trucks in this Road to Pro series, it's almost like we went to 3 straight drafting pack-based tracks. Richmond's going to be the first time, like you said, that we're really going to see the absolute skill set show when it comes to getting on the brakes, when it comes to getting on the throttle properly, going through the corner, and most importantly, tire management. I cannot stress how much that's going to come into play as this race progresses.
The pressure's definitely on for a lot of the drivers. We'll keep an eye on the bigger movers and a lot of the drivers getting shuffled around. Here's the track information real quickly, Braden. Once again, we talked about some of the keys and some of the expectations already, but talk about the facility as a whole, the action track as it's known of.
Yeah, this track home to a lot of NASCAR series, but really commonplace for the modified tour they stop here in the Railroad Tour too. But Richmond Raceway, a very historic track, been on the NASCAR schedule for many years. Opened in October 12th in 1946. Banking not a whole lot to rely on, about 14 degrees and then the 8 degrees coming down the D oval straightaway. It's not your typical cookie cutter. It's very tight, coming out only about 3/4 of a mile. So just over a kilometer for you non-American folk, but very interesting track, very tight track, and you have a couple lanes you can play with too if you want to, but it's going to be pretty much right around the bottom and find a safe place to hide.
Real quickly, here's your Maconi setup shop race analysis. 120 laps. Fuel mileage expect to go up to about 110. If there's early enough cautions, this 90-mile race may be a no-stop for some drivers if the race then goes green from then on out. 3 green light checker attempts are also available if necessary, as to be expected. Open setup as well. 4 tire sets available in the pits for our drivers. Now, who are the drivers tonight? Well, they've already finished up the qualifying session. We're about to make our way over to the racetrack because those drivers are about to get rolling for their pace lap. Let's find out in the next moment or so how they will start tonight from Richmond. Omar Diallo sets the pole time tonight. It was a 21.276, a good couple hundreds quicker than your points leader with the drop coming in, Andrew Navarro starting second. Kevin King matched him in qualifying on time in third. Christopher M. Hill finished out the qualifying session fourth. He's amongst the top 5 coming in points. Ginny Mascana finishes off qualifying in fifth. Quentin Warman starts alongside of the top 6. 7th spot, Brian Mercurio. Last week's race winner, he'll start alongside Michael P. Frisch. Then rounding out your top 10, Logan Clampett and Nathan Nicholson in this one, Braden.
That Kenny Brady going to be first driver outside the top 10, looking for a solid rebound, not too high up in the points, and Michael Mickham to his outside. Justin Smith, winner a couple weeks ago at Vegas, rolling off 13th. He's pretty close to the bubble as well. He's looking for a good points run. Matthew Martin in 14th, Boyd Hogan 15th, Sean M. Compton in 16th, Christopher Pfeffer in 17th, Jake Matheson in 18th, Andrew Paranaz in the 19th, and Brad Mahar in 20th. And Dylan, I'm going to let you go ahead and round up the field.
21st is going to be Daniel Smallwood with Dane Shamoon right alongside in row 11. Max Brady and Joe Blewett, 23rd and 24th. 25th, Philip Groner, Casey Tucker, Connor Shang, Dominic Lukomsky, Mitchell DeYoung, Larry Pace, your top 30. Just a few more. And Justin, I'll let you take it away.
The rest of the drivers at the back of the field, Matthew Batby. The last drivers on time were Sander Nyhoff and Jacob Snyder. Blaze Crawford, Blake McCandless did not set qualifying times. Let's look in at the live pictures because 35 drivers, an SOF of 7,534. First step for the qualifying ladder to be able to make the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Real quickly, Dylan, I turn to you. Who do you think is going to get this one done?
Oh, goodness. You know, Andrew Navarro is always someone you got to look out for to have some speed and some skill. But I got to say, Kevin King, right? We've seen Kevin dominate at different levels in different leagues across all of iRacing. I think right here, it's going to be his time to shine and get back to where he needs to be in eNASCAR.
It's time to get back to racing for the RTP ladder. Green flag is out. Let's get racing from Richmond. Interesting start at the front. Omar Diallo got passed at the start-finish line by a nose by Navarro. However, no black flag. Navarro taking the lead on lap 1, taking it fully. Backstretch lap 2, Brendan.
That Navarro came in as your points leader despite not having a win. After a strong start and early run, is going to go and take the lead over from Diallo. Only 12 laps led coming into this race so far for your points leader. Looking to change the game up a little bit tonight.
He's been one of the more well-respected builders in the past couple of years, making his way through multiple different organizations. He's also picked up a few C Open titles since then. Mid-pack, meanwhile, it's 2x2 with a lot of drivers trying to shuffle the way through. Lots of those trying to get going. You see in this grouping of drivers, some of those with the Nexus Esports backing, That's Jake Matheson up top side. We've seen having to get massive points last week at Atlanta. Looking to try and build up a lot more points here on the outside.
Yeah, trying to do that right now, but it's hard to get moves done with everybody on that same just fresh Goodyear rubber. You can make moves on the outside here at Richmond. Sometimes it's preferred. That inside line, it can really put a wear on the rubber. And if you get a good run on the outside where there will be grooves made, it can really be beneficial in the long run.
Now, Brandon, turning back over to you. Keep in mind, this is a racetrack expected for these drivers to be bottom dominant. The middle line as of late, even the high line a couple years ago, did become a preferred line to get some clean air on the front nose. What do we see this time, though?
Yeah, everyone's for the most part kind of running single file. I don't think it's necessary trying to find clean air. I think it's a very long race for a lot of these guys. They don't want to rush or get in the front. They don't want to burn up their tires. They can probably stick their nose out and make a pass or two using that middle line. But you got to be able to set up. You got to back up their corner, be able to dive in deep a little bit and try to get the run off the straightaway. So you see some guys thinking about it, but for the most part, everyone's in a train around the bottom.
Now, per some of the intel brought in, expecting 30 laps in to see that middle line really start to become the preferred groove. Brian Mercurio making some moves now with Logan Clamp at top side. You can argue almost some of these drivers are getting it worked now. Mercurio, we've seen last time out do very strong. He's known for being very good at super speedways, but he can also run very well on short tracks like tonight.
Well, you're not in this series, in this top split, if you're not able to run well on every type of racetrack. That's what we talk about, right? He's number 3 in this race in terms of I-rating, and that's that for a reason when we talk about Mercurio. Now, you saw earlier Clampett was trying to make a move down the inside, could not hold it on Mercurio, who runs down to the inside here on lap 9, coming to 10 of 120. Still some trucks trying to move around, see what works for them. I mean, if we're talking about pit strategy at all, if it goes green, you want to come in right around halfway. You can go longer on a full tank of fuel, but there's no need to push it with the tires here.
Already 10 laps in. So far, so good for Navarro, holding off Diallo up the front. Still has to be expected when it comes to the way things play out. Diallo just letting things ride and trying to see how this long run plays out. For a lot of the drivers in the back, though, need to get some points in fast. Interesting enough, you have a lot of big names who didn't qualify well. One of those first, Mike Mitchell DeYoung's back there as far back as 25th last time around. He's the number 4 truck tonight. Brad Mahar didn't get a good qualifying run. A lot of others trying to make some moves in fast. But a lot of others are going backwards. Michael Mitchell, for the first time making top split, is already back 11 spots in 12 laps.
Yeah, one of the drivers just talked about there, Brad Mahar, not having a very good start to the season. A 30th at Daytona, highlighted by a 5th at Vegas and a 22nd at Atlanta last time out. Hasn't sitting 12 spots below the cut line, and currently running 26. It's not going to get him done.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers want to go 3 wide back there. That
Yikes.
time it's Dominic Lukavetsky. His first time this season in top split, also a part of Nexus Esports, as part of the Front Row Motorsports partnership. The 34 truck on the racetrack tonight, wanting to go places and fast alongside, yes, that's the legitimate 24 Fonz versus the 24-34 in Sim.
It is funny how that kind of works with all these drivers getting a little bit loosey-goosey off the exit of the corner. I mean, are you shocked that this is where we're seeing most of the racing, the hard-nosed battling happening in the circuit? These drivers know that they need to get through the field quickly, because while it's going to feel like a long race as the tires start to go away, it is still 120 laps. Not that much here at Richmond Raceway. You see drivers behind and in front of this Focus. They're getting loose, and it's going to get worse as this run goes on. We're only 15 laps in, Justin.
You know who's dropped to the very back of the field? There's always somebody who tries to play different. Of course, it's Blake McCandless. Now, since the last broadcast, we've already seen Drew Adamson say if he makes the Coke Series, not only is he staying in the booth, he's becoming the in-race reporter, so good luck on being the co and going on the gas. But speaking of gas pedals, He's trying to save the gas and not use a lot of gas pedal. Remember what we talked about? If you save 10 laps, you can make it no stop. He's the only one aggressively saving, banking on no caution.
And not just lap two, but if we get a caution at this point, it's going to be kind of split. I feel like if you come down and take tires and fuel, these guys do have a limited amount of tires in the pit stall coming out 4. So you want to be able to kind of spread them out evenly, maybe save some for a late race caution, be able to go out there and reset yourself. But Blake is definitely taking it easy, not putting too much wear on these tires, trying to save fuel. It's going to be a tall task to save 10 laps. But, I mean, he's braking super early. You can see how far he's fallen back, over 2.5 seconds to the next car at Larry Pace.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy, but if it works, he'll look like the smartest driver in the entire field.
You missed a quote. You missed a quote right there. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it plays off. If it pays off.
I was trying not to rip off that quote this time.
I don't
This
get
time,
it.
you don't get. Okay.
Well, up front, 100 laps to go already. Already in the window for drivers to make it on gas so far. Everyone just remaining patient. No major aggression quite yet, with the points being that close on the line. For the most part, qualifying speed seems to be critical for a lot of these drivers throughout this series, and we're seeing that come into play tonight. Amongst those holding on here, you see that from Eugene Mosganov, who's shown some great speed in the drafting tracks. This is even better speed, though, in the short track.
The Russian Rocket coming in, currently running inside the top 5. But you talked about drivers not really being in a hurry to get anywhere. So far, only one driver that started outside the top 10 is inside the top 10. That's Kenny Brady, only up 2 spots. Nathan Nicholson, the driver out, who started 10th, currently running 11th. So not a whole lot of shuffling in the top 10 or so guys. But let me tell you, you go from 11th, 24th, 25th, and it is shuffled like crazy. I mean, some of these guys are burning off their tires trying to get those points we talked about. Every point matters, and the more and more we go into the Road to Pro season, the less and less splits and less tire rating there will be amongst the drivers, and less opportunities to maximize points.
Top line starting to come into play, it looks like, though, Dylan. Keeping an eye on our sister broadcast for second split competition. This is around the same time, the top line, right there with Casey Tucker. Drivers are trying to get that groove against the wall to work. Yeah. As some drivers have hit the wall. Believe that's one of the Bradys. Yeah, that is Max Brady, already 6 laps down, and he is way slow on the racetrack.
Had a connection issue about 6 laps ago that forced him to DC or tow or something. I think he just blinked out and had to tow, and unfortunately taking a tow in the green flag racing here is a deficit. So.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for Brady, but nonetheless, we're watching the fanning out of all of these trucks through each of the corners, and you see Dan Shamoon in that 25th place truck right now. He's trying to make that low line still work, but it just does not have the speed that it used to have. Brayton, I know you know this for sure. It's like a dirt track, right? You got to find where the grip is, where the speed is. I don't think it's the bottom anymore.
No, we talked about these guys are all running the bottom in a single line train, and over the past couple laps, you've seen them start to slowly move up. I think it's going to be the pace of the race. These guys are going to be trying different lines. Navarro is about the only one really running that bottom hill from the lead. Doesn't have to worry about dirty air, but you go back about 10th here, you see guys going 2 or 3 wide, trying to find grip, running that high line. Maybe do a different approach in the corner, try diamond in the corner to get a better exit, sneak your nose on the inside of somebody if you can to make a pass, but these guys are starting to get hungry.
Oh, that was a little bit of very much take from Boyd Hogan. Just about squeezing across the front nose of Philip Groner. And it's pretty clear, some of these drivers are now quite obviously saying here, I've got to go. I feel like I'm getting held up. This is a track, remember, Braden, that usually sees about a 10-lap pattern to make a pass. A lot of these drivers don't have 10 laps because you make 10 passes. Guess what? You're within 20 laps to go.
Yeah, time's definitely starting to run out in some of these drivers' heads. You see them getting into the wall. That's really going to start hurting some of them. Sean Conklin with contact from Daniel Smallwood. These two side-by-side coming off the corner. Number 14 in the sim and number 32 on your screen. Still making contact. These two are rubbing fenders. They're fighting, you think, for the lead, but it's battle for 16th here. They're both trying to go.
Oh, Daniel Smallwood not happy with Conklin. Now he's trying to shove up a full lane. This could get a little bit ugly here, but Sean Conklin shuffles off Smallwood like a jacket. And Smallwood gives him the bumper twice to in response.
That's just some good racing at the action track here of Richmond Raceway. And hey, no harm, no foul. There wasn't too much contact, but it was getting fairly aggressive between those two drivers. Smallwood still maintaining just a half truck length back behind Sean Conklin. They're fighting for 16th place on track right now. It's about midway through this lead lap amount of drivers. 34 still in the lead lap. Max Brady, the only one not on the lead lap. But Justin, I know we were talking about pit strategy and making sure you can save fuel and maybe only have to, save fuel and go the rest of the way on one full tank of fuel. Do you feel like these drivers are going to go with the halfway point, or do you think they're going to run a little bit longer?
That's always an interesting question, and I'm curious in your take here, Braden, because this is a racetrack where you don't want to be the one pinned 2 laps down because you pit. It's worth noting Mitchell DeYoung's joined that strategy on fuel save. There's a risk they lose a lap at the rate things are going before the pit stops, though, because of the saving. So which leads to the question here, is this the smart play, or is this going to be a trouble spot? Because at the rate Navarro's closing, he might start lapping McCandless by pit stop time.
So we saw this in the real-life NASCAR Truck Series race here last year, where the leader decided to stay out and the entire field pitted, and I believe it was Carson Hosbar ended up getting the win very late in the race just by virtue of having better tires. So there's a couple different strategies you can play here. Obviously, the undercut seems to work at a track like this, and you gotta time it right though. You can't undercut too much. You can't come in now and try to put 80 laps in tires and expect these guys to, be way behind them if they pit 40 laps later because they don't have that huge deficit here. I don't really like the fuel strat that McCandless and Mitchell here in the back are trying to play. I think it only really works if the thing goes green the whole way out. But even then, they're going to have 120 laps on their tires by the time it's done. And this changes everything.
Throw the strategy out the window just like that. Caution in turn 3. It's Andrew Freenage who gets turned around running 20th position. Bumper cars with Brad Mahar and more as we're under yellow for the first time tonight.
Well, we were just talking about that strategy. Sorry to cut you off there. We were talking about that strategy for those guys only really working if this thing went caution-free, and so now they can throw that out the window.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that, Brayton. We catch a replay here. Freenage actually was going a little bit slower into turn 3 than the rest of the drivers heading into that corner. Obviously, he was hit from behind by Brad Mahar, and that's unfortunate, but I can't really place blame on anybody there. It just felt like Freenage was going a little bit too slow going into the corner than the rest of the traffic. It's like going on 85 or 77 near Charlotte. Bumper cars, right? It's the accordion effect. One car slows down, the rest don't slow down as quick. You want to go with the flow of traffic.
There was also contact you seen with Joe Blewett, and as to be expected, pit stop party time after a 38-lap run. Expect 4 tires and fuel here. We'll see if anybody elects to take the short fuel strat to try and get a little bit more short run speed in it as well. So quickly, our first pit stop win of the race. Andrew Navarro's led all 38 laps so far. We'll see if he's got the best of the pit stops next couple seconds.
I think the safe bet here is take as much fuel as you can. Don't really risk it. I mean, there are plenty of laps in the good, but if this thing goes green, you definitely don't want to try and short yourself or sell yourself too short, especially if we get green-white checker territory, forcing yourself having to pit.
As we expect, Navarro, Diallo, your top 2 based on the pit stop arrangement. King came out 3rd. Hill, Borman getting shuffled by Logan Clampett. Clampett actually gained 2 spots during the pit stop sequence. Already just about a third of the way through tonight's racing action here on iRacing Maconi Entertainment. Reminder, tonight's section brought to you in part by iRacing, relied on as a training tool by countless professional drivers. It's unrivaled as a racing simulator because its creators have managed to capture every last car and track detail and recreate them in a package that perfectly encapsulates the feeling of being behind the wheel of a race car, pushing its mechanical limits on courses designed to test driver skills and mindsets. And the industry agrees. Visit iRacing.com to sign up and become a member today. The incident report is in. Andrew Freenosh, Brad Mahar, Joel Blewett, Connor Shawn all picking up contact for our first yellow flag here tonight. It's been an interesting one, Braden.
For sure, that's going to be 4 drivers that I don't think any of them are going to have too much critical damage. For the most part, everyone's back out and rolling as far as I can tell. Got some heavy damage, though, especially on Freenosh's truck. His right rear's all bent up. Not really ideal for aerodynamic, aerodynamic dependent track as far as having rear grip and rear downforce. So this damage might affect him. I don't think it's going to be race ending, though, for anybody. But having to pit every single time, though, and get damage repaired, which is going to be the ideal strat for some of these guys. It's not ideal by any means, though, because you're going to be constantly resetting yourself back at the pack. We've seen just how hard it is to pass here.
Yeah, looking across the field, it's been hard to be able to break into the top 10. Only Christopher Pfeffer has gone up at least 3-4 spots, if not more, to be able to move up into the top 10. Everybody else who's up 8-9 positions for biggest movers, they're in the 20s, Dylan. They're going to need to find a way to get track position somewhere.
Yeah, and that's going to be what we're going to be looking for on this restart. There's no better time to make up positions than at the drop of a green flag, whether it's the start of the race or on a restart. So I am going to expect more action to happen in the mid-pack, trying to make up spots quickly. It's gonna be a little bit hectic, way wilder than what we saw at the drop of the green flag for the race.
Coming up to lap 43, 78 laps to go. So far, Andrew Navarro's dominated the run so far. He's in control for the restart. Back on our way, and Navarro already clears himself, and Diallo's already blocking the inside line. Let's fan out 3-4 wide into turn 1, shall we? Clampett just avoids contact with Warman. Mercurio tried to dive it, backed out.
Not quite over yet. Smith getting turned wreck in the back. We got Daniel Smallwood around. Connor Shawn more damage. Crawford makes it through. A lot of guys spinning and wrecking, getting turned. Smallwood going to collect a lot of heavy damage there. Same with Matthew Martin. A lot of heavy damage, a lot of heavy accidents. I was getting ready to say we're an interesting disaster, but seems we found the tape measure and shortened up where we could.
Under caution already, second time tonight. It comes in the middle of the pack this time, and this is why track position's critical as well. Dan Shamoon tries to go 3 wide where there's no lane.
I mean, the mid-pack, right? That's what we were just talking about. That's where the action happened at the action track, and they almost lost it through 1 and 2. They kept it together pretty nicely. There's some contact here, right there. Thought they were going to wreck, but then it just kind of was a sloppy move, trying to go squeeze through a few cars on the outside. There wasn't the space, or at least it was closing down very quickly, and it led to the mini big one, if you will, here at Richmond.
No one with mandatory repairs, but a lot of drivers with fender damage, you can very much argue. Like McCandless, he very much gets through. No, not unscathed. In fact, he used a battering ram to finish it off.
It was playing such a conservative strategy too. Unfortunate series events though, but when you're back there, running just inside the top 20, and you're 2 or 3 wide coming off the corner, and you're in such a tight pack after a restart, it's very hard to tell where a hole is or where there even might be a hole. For all you know, if that truck moves out of the way in front of you, it's going to be a blocked track, and unfortunately, nothing to use except the battering ram for the front bumper.
So already a lot of drivers getting some damage repair done, including McCandless, Mahar, Morden, Smallwood, Freenosh yet again, coming down for pit stops. Not at the halfway point quite yet, but this does rebundle the field. So talking about things, of course, eNASCAR had a heat format this week, in fact, for its Coke Series race. To say the very least, an interesting time for the Coke Series there. For those wanting to learn more, go to eNASCAR.com. But Richmond as a whole, you could say the least, Dylan, takes a lot of skill set to win here in the first place, whether it's Coke, RTP, or real life. Believe you may or may not have a replica version of the trophy, because colleague.
I have a 3D printed replica of the trophy because I was not willing to pay thousands of dollars for the actual replica of the trophy. But yes, we've got a 3D version here. Last year we won with Chandler Smith in the Xfinity Series, and I was his PR rep last year. So right now, even though we celebrate all of our wins at Colleague as a team, that was my one and only so far specific PR to driver win. So that was a lot of fun. That was a good time. Richmond does take a very special talent to get the job done, and we've seen those talents already start to show. Maybe they haven't been as involved in the action from this race tonight, but they're still holding strong and steady up front with a little bit of calm. Now, if we go green flag racing for a lot longer, I don't know if we're going to see it here today, but it would involve traffic, and that would be quite interesting to see.
Yeah, and as we get ready for the restart pretty soon here, if it gets too aggressive pretty soon here, these drivers are going to turn from having a pizza party to throwing pizza at each other, you'd think.
I mean, in the Broadway scene, they throw tomatoes at actors they don't think do a good job. And if you don't do a good job here, I think you're going to change more than tomatoes, especially over the microphone. But so far, it's been calm.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. It happened last week. Nearly, they do it on the go. Diallo doesn't get a good jump this time. Kevin Kane looking for second already. Already Navarro up big. Offset 3 wide. Mercurio nearly gets hooked. Somehow, he doesn't get hooked. Mazganov now is trying to block Michael P. first. 3-4 wide at a 3.
Mazganov forcing first here to the bottom, going to have to cut off his entry. Still 2 wide behind, that's Maps and Nicholson. These two are side by side. They got Justin Smith, Compton, and everyone else behind them for the most part, 2 or 3 wide, trying to duke it out, move their way up through the midfield.
Oh, there's so much contact everywhere. Sorry to cut you off, Justin, but this is what we're talking about with the lap starting to wind down. They know that they all can make it easily. It's from here to checkered flag. If there's no yellows in between, we're not going to see any pit stops. That means they know the chance to get moves done is now.
Drivers like Navarro wanting to go and run away. Others like Mercurio trying to find a way to get the inside to flow. He's underneath Kenny Brady. In front of him still is Warman trying to get some spots, trying to squish Christopher Hill nearly up the track. It's to where a lot of these drivers are getting the elbows up to the point where they're just about shuffling each driver's elbow into the fence.
And you want to be as wide as you can, play defense without getting wrecked. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out too well for some of these guys. Although it's about starting to get that time they can run the middle very quickly, kind of move up, not necessarily by the wall, but they can run higher up on the track, find some grip, making passes. So far, though, it's been all Navarro. Took the lead early in this race and led every lap since for the most part. And just on a couple laps after the restart, 5 or 6, has built already a 6-10 lead to Kevin King.
As we approach the halfway point, a quick reminder of how second split may be going for comparison's sake for the point side. Brandon Hawk currently has led just about that whole race in second split. We are currently 2 laps behind second split. The flurry of caution flags. Navarro putting on a similar performance here. And speaking of caution flags, trouble back straightaway. Dominic Lukemski going around in the 34. This time off of Jacob Snyder. We're under yellow.
Dukomsky was currently running in the 24th spot, time of the caution.
And fair amount of damage for Jacob Snyder. Let's see this replay here. Yeah, that's going to do it there.
Yeah, watching it on my screen, it looked like there was maybe a little bit of extra space there, but nonetheless, they got very close and leaned up against each other at the worst possible place, right? Got your right rear quarter panel with the left front fender connecting, and sometimes that's just what happens. Could have been a lot worse. More drivers could have been involved, but again, we've got another caution, and all of a sudden, we were on a lot of green flag racing here. It's not that case now as we ride on board, watch Andrew Freenage's view of the incident.
You know what they say, caution breed caution.
Uh-huh.
And they're definitely putting them in a full flurry here. Freenage able to check up in time as there's some significant contact for another one of those drivers at the back of the field. That time, I believe, may have been, yes, Michael Mitchum. It has not been a great debut in top split for Mitchum.
Not at all. He did all he could to avoid the wreck. Did an excellent job about avoiding the wreck. Right on board, I believe, with him here. They're going to wreck right in front of him. That is Tomsky. They see him come down the track after getting in the wall, saves it, and then the right or left rear hooks in the wall. Left front follows suit, and a lot of heavy left front sprint damage for him. Nothing too critical, but did an awesome job avoiding the wreck. Incredible job. Just didn't avoid the wall.
Lucky dog, this caution, Max Brady, he's still 4 laps down because of the technical issue earlier. Just about at the halfway mark.
He was 7.
Yeah, he's recovered almost half the lap so far. He just needs to stay in the whole race and hope no one ever loses a lap. Ever.
I mean, you've got to have faith. Keeping the faith. Billy Joel taught us about that, Justin. Come on.
I mean, that's why you run the laps. You never know that if something happens. We haven't had anybody blow a motor either yet. Position's still in the line, but we do have some interesting strat because of that. A couple drivers towards the back of the field said, you know what, why not put on tires or fuel, it looks like. With this race looking the way it's going here, do you blame them? To be able to try and put a low pressure tire, see if that works?
Not at all. You never know when they're going to get another green flag run. For all you know, that could have been our last caution of the night. And you're going to look like a hero when these guys like your lead pack guys, Navarro and company, basically everyone inside your top 23 or so are still on the same set of tires from that about lap 38, 39 caution. So they already have 10 to 12 hard green flag laps on those tires. Being able to try something different might make getting track position a little bit easier. But if this goes green, they're going to have 20 overall fresher lap tires than those guys. And I think it's going to be a lot easier to pick up spots, pick up speed, especially if it goes green. Coming up towards the halfway point, I don't expect it to, as cautions can breed cautions, but we'll find out and see.
Just about set for their restart. Just before the halfway point, Navarro's led them all so far, 58 laps. Kevin King, Omar Diallo, Logan Clampett, Quentin Worland, Christopher M. Hill, your top 6. Kenny Brady, 7th. Mercurio Mazgana, Pfeffer, your top 10. Already seen a couple drivers like Mercurio pokes 3 wide into turn 1. Does anybody fully commit this time? Again, glad to have you with us here at iRacing Maconi Entertainment. Round 1 action for RTP continues with Navarro on the gas. Diallo looking quickly for second. And Logan Clampett nearly took Kevin King 3 wide outside.
Not a good start for any of them right here, except for, again, the leader, Andrew Navarro. That was Kevin King's first time restarting on the outside here. Did not go, or outside of row 1, it did not go the way he expected. 3 wide, back for 5th.
A little bit of a traffic jam still in the heart of that field. Nicholson trying to cut all the lanes off at the same time. Here comes Jake Matheson up the middle in that 3 wide as well. 4 wide for a split second with Casey Tucker. They're racing like they're on the freeway more so than a racetrack.
Judge Smith currently stuck 3 wide middle. He's got Michael Frisch to the left of him and Jake Matheson and company to the right. Found to left, Jokers to the right. It's still going to be pretty tight coming off of turn 4. They've been 3 wide for over a lap and a half now. They still quite haven't figured out who's going to take the spot.
They have to keep it clean, settle in. This is getting a bit ugly with Michael P. Frisch getting the door instead from Justin R. Smith. Somebody's going to have to give some breaks here with how tight this is getting. You can only go so high up the track. Tucker able to clear by those 2 at least.
Well, Casey Tucker is running a higher line than anybody, and I don't know if it's just because he's missing his braking points a little bit more than everybody else, or he truly wants to run in that 3rd, 4th groove up here. You see, he wants to go 3 wide, but he gets out of that darker area of the corner, almost gets into the marbles. You see, he's not keeping that truck straight on corner exit. It's almost leading to him coming down and dooring drivers on the inside.
Yeah, and you have to have the heads up. Most of these drivers have the spotters with them, keeping an eye on this. Taking a look, though, back towards the front. Mercurio, Warman, 6th position. Still a battle amongst the Norris Force machine on the inside. The Ryko truck on the outside. Warman doing very solid. Stayed where he's essentially started, holding back every single advance for the most part.
so far having a super clean race as well. One of the few drivers not really being involved in any incidents, and again, it's super easy to be or avoid the incidents there behind you. Maconi, though, trying to run that bottom line. We talked about drivers moving up. So far, everyone seems to be navigating themselves back to the bottom, but you're going to have to try and find something different line, try to maybe diamond the corner, going a little bit harder, and then get a better drive off if you can to make the pass, but still plenty of racing left to go for these guys.
Keeping head on the swivel with how things are going. Navarro, the only one really able to break away in any of these runs so far. He's up by 8/10 for the time being over King. And you mentioned it earlier with the experience for Kevin King. Earliest years in eNASCAR competition, making the pro levels. Now, trying to make it back to Coke for a second time in the past couple of years. He ran with Junior Motorsports a couple seasons ago, Dylan. King looking very solid. This is his best run of the season.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked. You know, I've had the, well, I don't know if I'd say pleasure, but the unfortunate incidents of having to race with Kevin because he is so much faster than me. I've seen him, we've raced door to door more because he's lapped me 2 or 3 or 4 times. He's really fast when it comes to the short tracks. He gets his practice, he gets his experience, and look at this, they're 3 wide right now. Gosh!
Boyd Hogan having to tell drivers we're 3 wide on the radio. Now that's the thing where there's the chance it gets too dicey here, and some of these drivers are saying, can you please give me a break? Hogan didn't get a break. John Conklin turns him, and here we go. Nyhoff and Moore stack up down to the wall, under caution again. And no one wanted to give a break.
He definitely needed a break coming in. I didn't really say Hogan is one of the few drivers that don't have a real life spotter compared to most of the field, and it's hard to tell too using just iRacing, even though a real life spotter. You don't have tons of experience with this, just how clear up you are. And I'm going to see the replay here. Basically, just came off. They were 3 wide almost an entire lap, and they come off at turn 4.
He fully expected Conklin to lift there.
That was Conklin running the high side, using the chrome numbers. I just don't know really what either one expected him to do. I mean, you're side by side. It's kind of getting towards the late stages of the race, and then behind them, here comes the field. Sandro Nyhoff kind of expected it, but couldn't really see. You got Blake McCann in front of him. And, I mean, nowhere ready for any of these guys to go.
You just don't want to lift, right? You just don't want to lift at this late stage of a race, but I don't even know if he necessarily expected him to get out of the way or just not be there, get out of the throttle on corner exit. He's still there by quite a few feet. So, I don't know. That's just a little bit too over-aggressive in a stage where you've got to be aggressive, but it was just too much.
Cautions coming in flurries now. A good half the field elected to pit this time, including drivers like Mercurial, McCandless, Warman, and more. Also amongst those coming out of the pit lane here, you see Navarro. A few did stay out for track position, though. Navarro only coming out amongst the top 8 here because some of the drivers in front of him took 2 tires, like Jake Matheson and Christopher Pfeffer, and then you have Jacob Snyder, Andrew Freenosh, Daniel Smallwood, Brad Mahar, Larry Pace, all staying out. They pit the last caution. Remember, Snyder was involved in one of those cautions. This is a bullet play for the Ryko truck. You also have Freenosh involved in trouble, Smallwood in trouble, Mahar in trouble. Larry Pace has just been running the back most of the way. A bold call. Once again, those cannonballs are going to run out of cotton.
Now, not only was he involved, or sorry to cut you off there, Dylan. Not only was he not involved in your recent caution, he was involved in that most recent caution, turning Sandro Nyhoff. So a little front bumper damage, nothing too drastic. You can't even really see it on the sim, but he does have some right rear damage all red, and his spoiler's a little bit mangled. But having, you know, the fresher tires, the fresh-ish, but having fresher tires on about 16, 17 laps. So, and you have 4 or 5 guys behind him that are all on those same tires. That's going to give him a little bit of a buffer. But you're going to have Matheson and Pfeffer, all these guys on freshies right behind them. They're going to be ready to eat when they catch them.
Hey guys, don't look now. Max Brady is 3 laps down.
Yeah, it still needs 3 more cautions to be with the chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
A small one. A
I'll
very
take it.
small one. But the field getting set for the one-to-go command. A lot of drivers took 2-tire dives on the pit lane. McCandless, 2 tires. Justin Hart Smith also took 2 tires. In the heart of the pack, everybody else took 4. There's a chance this is our wildest restart of the race, Braden. How do you approach this knowing you have older tires in front, although a couple laps older, and involved in incidents for the 5 of those, and then you have 2 tires in the next row of drivers, and then the 4 tires?
Yeah, dude, look at these guys' pace. Andrew Farinoff, running second currently, had the highest qualifying spot at 19th. They're trying to do something different to make up track position, but if I'm anywhere inside that top 15, I expect a wreck happen in front of me. I'm going to try to find a place and hide for a couple laps.
It's hard to hide when you're on a racetrack. You can find ways, but it involves not being at a racetrack. We'll say that. Snyder, way before the restart zone on visual. We'll see if there's a black flag from that or not. Already underway. It's 3-4 wide for the land rush. Navarro getting checked up by Larry Pace. Already Christopher Pfeffer inside. Caution is out. It's the back of the field instead. It's not the front. It's Dan Shamoon on his own from 29th.
I don't think if we placed any sort of insight or instinct on what would have happened across the crossing, I don't think it would have been a self-spin from 29th position, but it happened.
I cannot believe that Max Brady, I know I've mentioned it, but Max Brady was just talking about it in the in-race chat, and I'm surprised that a caution did fully come out for that. He wasn't completely turned. That's okay, though. Max is extremely excited. He's just 2 laps down, and everyone's still on the lead lap. Justin, the chance is high.
It's getting higher, especially since this heart of the field, they almost would have wrecked it in turn 3. You'd seen Navarro nearly hit the wall.
Yeah, Larry Page, too, was the one that got one of the drivers that stayed out on those older tires. Driver that came into this barely on the bubble, too. He needed a really good points run, kind of trying to change things up. You can't blame him for trying to stay out. And he got shoved 3 wide before they were even exiting turn 2. So he was already dropping like a hot rock in acid. But going to see maybe they pit knowing that you don't have that fresh rubber, but now you're going to be stuck way in the back, and a couple guys maybe electing. We're gonna see no.
Yeah, I think tonight it's gonna be again track position. The same thing could be said about next time out, which should be worth noting to mention that before we get towards the busy portion of the race. Texas is next after all. And Dylan, talking about Texas, that's track position heavy as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is track position heavy. Texas Motor Speedway is not the most beloved track on the NASCAR calendar by any means. It's almost like a parking lot in turns 1 and especially 2. And it's important to make sure that you pick up all the spots you can in the first few laps after the green flag drops. I mean, I'm talking about that here, and that's obviously true here, but Texas, more than most, it's just hard to make moves consistently there. So you'll see a lot more chaos at any restart at Texas, and you'll see at most tracks just because everyone's trying to make moves quickly. But we're going to go restart here on lap 81 of 120. That's going to give us 40 laps to go until the checkered flag comes out. I suspect we're going to see a couple more cautions in this one. You've got too much of a mix of drivers with fresher and completely fresh tires in this field.
A lot of chatter over the radio, too. Max Brady, I think, is not as happy as some may be because Dominic Lukemski nearly lapped himself under the caution. And that's the reason why he's having to wait at the back. But the rest of the field is about to make sure their bubble wrap is on their trucks. In the next lap or so, it looks like we may have had a delay green, in fact, because of that, or the field elected to go double wide per iRacing standard before the lights are out. Now let's try this again. And now, get the bubble wrap fully around your truck to make sure it's secure.
And Tedder Picker gets some zip ties ready. We talked about the fresher tire. Currently looking down the list, you got Jake Matheson and Christopher Pfeffer in 5th and 6th with the freshest tires of anyone in the top 10. Then Navarro, Kevin King, and Clampett, all of that fresh rubber. Larry Pace going to be one to watch, though, in 7th. He's literally right in between a handful of guys, a busy swarm, and you can say, of guys with a lot fresher rubber than him.
Taking a look at Larry Pace, currently in 7th. Right behind him and alongside is the 4-tire brigade. In front of him, 2 tires in, old tires. We're back underway. Snyder looks to run. Here comes the land rush to turn 1. 3 and 4 wide again, heart of the pack. Near contact a couple times over. Christopher Hill forced to check up. Omar Diallo nearly gets squished in the heart of the field.
They're 3x3x3. Sorry to cut you off, Dylan, but I mean, they're absolutely sending it all stacking in each other like a burrito.
Wide.
And they're
Oh, there we go.
wrecking. There was some contact with Andrew Navarro and Larry Pace. Pace spun in the grass in the infield. No caution until right now. The caution comes out.
Big wreck. There's still a huge wreck coming off at turn 2 that time.
Multiple wrecks across the track. Thought it would be around Tucker. Instead, it's Pace off Navarro with Logan Clampett giving assistance to Navarro. And then the caution comes out the next turn with this madness.
Wow, that was a mess. And I feel like we've reached a theme in this race where just everybody is just going to do what they can to gain positions. It's too valuable at this point in the first half, if you will, of the Road to Pro season. We watch on board here, and this is up ahead with what happens in the next corner, and just trying to chop down on the nose. That does not necessarily happen for any of them there. 3 trucks involved in that incident there. That's what brought out the yellow originally, but surprisingly, we saw Pace and Navarro get together on the front stretch, and that's what started the chaos.
Apologies already from Clampett because it's from right there.
I could get into Navarro too a little bit, so it might be interesting to see if any damage on Navarro, and then reaching for the caution, going hard for second, 3 wide. Smallwood, Andrew Fairnash going around, having some troubles late in this one.
The only one probably happy about this caution is Max Brady. He's only a lap down because of this. He's your lucky dog yet again. So after technical issues early, Max Brady has a clean truck, but still has to pass the whole field and get another caution on top of that for the late lap in the first place.
That's the coolest thing I've seen. Yeah, I've got faith too, Brayton. I had faith with, he was 4 laps down, and Justin said, you know what, there's a small chance. I'm like, we got to take it, right? We're the kind of trio, this booth, that needs to take those small chances and run with them. And Max Brady, at this point, if he doesn't get back in the lead lap, I will say it, I will ban myself for a week from iRacing.
You talk about taking chances there. Drivers still electing to stay out and continue to take chances despite pretty much everyone else on the older rubber around him, you know, being wrecked at some point or another. Jacob Snyder continues to lead the way. Again, with Smallwood and Brad Mahar all in the top 5. Those 3 drivers all on that older rubber compared to the rest of the field. So I don't think we're exactly caution-free yet. But it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Here's an interesting thing. Just about all those involved up at the front in the incident, except, of course, for Freenosh, did get to keep their spots, so Snyder's still in the lead here. Matheson is up to second amongst the first on 2 tires, though. That is huge. Also a huge opportunity for Kevin King with what happened to Navarro. He jumped the 42 on track.
That is massive for King. I mean, he's still going to be starting just in front. I believe the row in front of where Navarro will be. Navarro will have that inside positioning. The real problem is going to be, will King and Navarro be able to avoid this whole mess that's going to continuously form every time they go back to green flag racing here, as we're going to go on lap 89 of 120. They still have to make their way through trucks, I should say, that do not have fresh sets of Goodyear tires on them. It's going to be difficult. And even then, you're going to have drivers that are down the order and still struggling.
Getting ready for the restart once again. One final check-in for the quick moment. FTN with coverage of second split tonight. Brandon Hawks led just about the whole way. How's it going for some? Well, one of the Altus Esports trucks is going backwards around the racetrack in live action. That's how well it's going there. Let's find out how it goes here. 32 to go at the stripe. Snyder on the inside. It's Matheson on the outside. And already, Checkup City, everybody blocking the bottom. And Snyder has to hold on to the outside because Pfeffer wants to go. It's 4 wide. Kevin Kane high side. Smallwood gets squeezed. Here we go. Door to door.
Smallwood running that high side. Hill and Navarro all staggered 3-4 wide there with Kevin King too. A lot of guys trying to make it work, and so far they have battled for the lead low. Jacob Snyder top of 3's got Pfeffer and Matheson, no big contact with him. These guys are absolutely duking up. They are elbows out, fist out, boxing gloves out, tomatoes out. It's go time.
Christopher Pfeffer looking for the lead. Hornet's Nest 4 wide still as Pfeffer takes the point up front. Somehow, the field managed to stay green. More contact. Logan Clampin having a check. Now a huge send from Tucker. You gotta get away. This is 4 wide. Some rolls deep, and there they go. They tried for Solomon to try and wreck. They finally do it. 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers spinning around, and we're under caution.
It was just a matter of time at that point. I mean, come on. These drivers are trying so hard right now, and I can't say I blame them for taking every bit of racetrack that they possibly can have, but it's a shame that we are seeing so many cautions. These drivers are so fast and they're so even. Let's get a look at the replay right here. I mean, they're 3, 4 wide constantly throughout the lap. I'm shocked that they're legitimately riding with maybe a stack of cardstock in between them, and it was working out for a few laps there. Can't work out on lap 91. Caution officially coming out on lap 92. Unfortunate, and another restart coming in this race. You know, somebody said on the iRacing Twitch chat, I asked, how many cautions do you think we'll have in the second half of this race? And somebody said 4, another said at least 5, and one other person said 19, and I'm thinking 19 now.
So I want to point out, you talk about another restart coming up. Not only does that mean another restart, that means another lap back for Max Brady. Yes, sir, on the lead lap from 7 laps down. Technical issues, no problem for Max Brady. He has a pretty clean truck. I don't even know if he's been taking tires, but he's been able to go back out and all 35 trucks back on the lead lap, back running in the entire starting field. To my knowledge, I don't think anyone's going to be catastrophic from that wreck.
Hey, Justin, you know what would be the worst twist of fate now is if Max Brady has more internet connection issues now being back on the lead lap. I don't want to put that on him, but
well, on the bright side, while everybody is currently getting their boxing gloves ready, you have Max Brady who just said, "Thank you, all of you, for being you. That's why you keep running the race."
I love that quote. Thank you guys for being you. I appreciate it.
We got to thank the guys that gave him the 7 cautions. You know?
This is true. You know, your pit crew, your spotter, your team, and the 34 other drivers who are wrecking 7+ times to let you back on the lead lap.
So, let's go in all seriousness here. Christopher Pfeffer is in prime position here. He started 17th. Snyder still has the track position, despite being on the older tires. And Matheson's got a solid truck despite just 2 tires here. Kevin King is also in the conversation. So what goes to the mind here, knowing the different runners are now showcasing their speed now that they've found a way to get around Navarro with the track position, or, in the case of King, with Navarro nearly getting turned.
I'm gonna pass one over to Dylan. That he's been, around the track, and how stressful it is for these drivers. During the winding laps of the race, but how stressful it is for everyone around you and the whole atmosphere going into the final portion of a race like this.
Well, especially at Richmond and with the way that these trucks can lean on each other and run side by side, I mean, we have seen clean 3-wide racing in this race. I wouldn't necessarily call the majority of it clean, especially when they get 4-wide, but it's just so hard because it feels like you're trying to pass a set of 8 rows of cars in front of you on a 2-lane highway, and you're trying to make 4 lanes work. It just is difficult. You're gonna get some damage. You're gonna get some scrapes. It's not Darlington, so you're not gonna get a Darlington stripe, but it is action track striped. We gotta come up with a phrase for that. Make it sound cool in that regard.
Bill getting ready to go. Again, 2 tires. Christopher Pfeffer still leading up at the front. Snyder old tires in second. Matheson 2 in third. King on 4 in the top 4. Already back underway. Another quick launch from the restart zone. Already 3 wide. Logan Clampett trying to charge up the middle. Everybody wanting to be in the middle at the same time.
Not gonna work.
Another round. Here we go. Under caution, it's Kevin King in the wall. And this time, it collects the driver outside front row. Jacob Snyder collected.
Actually had a little bit of help from Kevin King. I talk about being so tight on a restart. Snyder got pushed 3 wide outside there, going into 1 and 2, and King's kind of a little bit fresher grip. And if you're Max Brady, you could have been 8 down. Think about that.
Well, I'll say this for sure. This is the one time that I feel like Kevin King's experience did not help him out here. He got a little bit too impatient and kept the throttle going, did not necessarily give the O2 that much space, that much room. And with cars, trucks, doesn't matter what they're driving, when they're on tires that are not as fresh, as we get a good look here, I mean, King is right there. He just does not kind of let up, give up. You got to give them a tiny bit more space, especially going into the mid-corner, because you know they're going to be rolling through there, scrubbing off a lot more speed. It's just impossible not to do that. Kevin saw Navarro was on the bottom of that 3-wide situation in front and did not want to give up any space, any time. Unfortunately, he did that in spades with the damage he now has on his truck. He's not going into pit road, though, Justin, and I do wonder how much of an effect that will have. He didn't hit too hard, but he hit the wall at a fairly medium speed rate.
He's still in 6th. I think that's the reason, though, Dylan. Do you really want to risk trying to make up 30 spots?
No, and there haven't been too many laps for them to even put too much wear and tear on the tires. So, hey, after 60-ish laps with 1 caution or maybe 2 cautions in that time frame, put on tires and see what happens. You've seen, and we have seen in the real world, I know Brayton brought up a Truck Series example in the past, but I'll bring up a NASCAR Cup Series real-world example. In 2022, the spring race at Richmond, Denny Hamlin came into the pits from the lead with 35 laps to go, went a lap and a half down, and made the pass for the lead once again with 5 laps remaining. So you can make up a ton of speed if given the time and the opportunities here at Richmond. It's just, do you trust this race to go green? I don't.
Yeah, we'll see what happens the next moments or so, though, because you still have the 2-tire drivers in control. That incident puts Navarro back to 3rd, the first who had pit for 4 29 laps ago. Kenny Brady for the first time all day is in the top 5. Justin R. Smith the same. Remember, Smith broke through earlier in the season. Kevin King, as mentioned, in the top 6. For those curious, Brady's on the freshest tires in 32nd. He picked up spots because of the caution. Ready to get back going, under 20 laps to go. Another great restart on the inside. Pfeffer looks to run. Navarro looks for the lead. Big block by Pfeffer. Navarro gives him space as they go 4 wide again.
Pfeffer in the Altus Esports truck leading the way. Hard charging Andrew Navarro, though, right behind him, going to try to get right.
Wrecking in the back on the backstretch into turn 3. This is a big parking lot. They're scattered and smothered and covered all over like a Waffle House right now.
Caution flag is out, and that is 2/3 of your field. And now the field is in panic mode. That's a ton of drivers. McCandless, I think, got through. Casey Tucker, Philip Groner. Tempers are boiling. Yeah.
I don't think McCandless made it through. When I went to the wreck, I believe I saw him spinning profusely around the track. Or at least he did an awesome job avoiding maybe some contact. Now I'm in someone else. See the replay there, 3-4 wide. He ripped hard contact there, and just too many names to even list. McCandless did barely make it through. Had a lot of heavy contact though. Awesome record warning from him. Was very close to getting clipped. And this is going to be our 9th caution of the race. For reference, the average of the first 3 races, we had an average of 2.3 cautions.
Here's Boyce Crawford, part of the field. And then, bye-bye, field. Let's crash.
Take a look at what he did.
Put that on a t-shirt.
My goodness. Max Brady, just after getting on the lead lap, 7 laps down, I think just floored in through it with the late break.
Yeah, Brady, he was trying to get through there as quickly as possible. It just did not necessarily work at the end. He didn't take too much damage, but slowed up and was stopped long enough to go back into 32nd last time they crossed the line. Here's a view on board with Brady. You see the Chevys and the Toyotas all wrecking in front. Almost got through it with a little bit of contact on the right side. Most importantly, that's not too much damage to the front of that truck.
Well, I wouldn't think so, considering he used another truck as a battering ram to try and make a hole through the wreck, which I got applauded. I'm remembering that one from my next ARCA race, especially a big wreck at Kansas. I'm just going.
Yeah, you should be best at that.
Pushing through, yeah.
ARCA brakes, man.
Going for it.
I was going to say one thing in the back of my mind, because I've done what some drivers have done from the back of the field to the front after being multiple laps down. 9 times out of 10, whenever that happens, at least in personal experience, I either pop the motor or the Max Brady, what just happened happens. And the field somehow only has 1 driver lap down in Mitchell DeYoung, and we're already ready to restart. That was quick.
Well, I don't think Mitchell's going to have to worry about not getting back on the lead lap. We only got about 15 laps to go or so. Okay, let me repeat myself. About 15 scheduled laps to go.
3 tries at the green-white checkered, by the way, guys.
We'll see if we end up using them, because Pfeffer's off and away. Navarro with that outside line, getting the better launch out of anybody in the past while up top side. And with the field having a lot of contact, not too much 4 wide. I wonder why.
Well, all the drivers that have been making it 4 wide are either struggling with some speed or in different places on the track. They're going 3 wide. We'll see how long it takes for them to go 4.
A lot of these guys are trying to, I don't want to say wreck, but they're definitely pushing the limit of their truck. Gene McGee's gone off the Russian Rocket. We've talked about him quite a bit tonight. Currently top of 3. You see him there in the screen with the yellow spoiler, very noticeable, coming off of turn 2. Finally going to sort of out get 2 wide, but basically from 3rd to all the way back to about 20th, these guys are 2-3 wide.
Coming up to 12 laps to go already around the racetrack. Still hard, intense, battling hard of the pack. That's Kevin King inside. Blake McCandless is up 22, despite all this and being involved in several. The conscience.
Oh, no.
Never mind. Commentator curse time. Let's stuck it again. There's the caution. Tucker into the field.
Commentator's curse never seems to fail. They just went to go talk about him. I was looking to, he's been involved in almost every instance tonight. Add another one to the tally. Coming off the corner 2 wide of Conklin, and actually they were staggered forward with Kevin King and Tucker. See him there. Candace in that yellow and black truck up at the top of their screen, coming off the corner. Just kind of gets pinched, staggered forward. That's Casey Tucker on the bottom. Then it's Kevin King and then Sean Conklin. Very tight.
Michael P. Frisch also picking up contact. Remember, this series does have an incident limit. It's hard to hit it. But at a short track with 17 being the black flag mark, Casey Tucker, Blake McCandless, Joel Blute with this incident have now hit it.
So it's not like this is a slick track. There is some cloud coverage, as you see right there, just over turns 1 and 2. But, I mean, looking at that replay, Kevin King, he leaned up, and I saw him for a bit just with an ailing truck. It's unfortunate, but he definitely took a lot of damage in that incident in turn 1 and 2, and I think he would say he could have done a little bit better in both of them.
So multiple drive-throughs coming up for the next restart or so. We're under 10 laps to go with this caution flag 2. Pfeffer and Navarro still 1-2. Lucky Dog Mitchell DeYoung. Well, he'll need to spend some time in the pit lane to find a new nose, but outside of that, it could be worse.
Could need a new engine.
Could need a new tire, a new truck, a new everything. But
I think you're going to run out of duct tape at some point.
I'm pretty certain at this point you can run to the duct tape store somewhere across the street or Google Map it. And he's apparently got a broken left front. Look at that. First of all, people might be taking notes on the set, but 2, that is not how the left front's supposed to be on a normal truck. It looks fine in steering, but from the outside you can see how it's lucky to be on the truck.
Imagine telling everybody that we've had probably double-digit cautions at this point and have everybody on the lead lap.
Well, we talked about talking about I don't want to say the open wheel truck, but open wheel modifieds are a regular series here at Richmond Raceway, so we're just kind of doing some multi-class racing here in the Road to Pro race. Yeah,
not only that, but we're seeing it in real life tomorrow at Richmond Raceway. If anyone's heading out to the track this weekend in Richmond, Virginia, tomorrow's on-track activity, all modified racing in the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour, and Saturday you've got some Xfinity. Saturday's a great value, by the way. You got practice and qualifying for Xfinity, practice and qualifying for Cup, and an Xfinity Series race all over by 3:30, 4 o'clock. Sign me up.
Overall, just out of curiosity, what is colleagues' expectations for Richmond Raceway?
Goodness, I just want the 11 car to, I think all of us want to finish a race without incident, whether it's a problem with the car or an unfortunate incident here or there. It feels like we can't get the rabbit's foot that we're looking for. In Josh Williams' case, he's a short track guy, so I think this will definitely be a good track for him to get the ship righted, and I think Shane Van Gisbergen is going to have an interesting time at a road course for the first time, this kind of road course, and AJ Allmendinger, AJ's AJ. I think we're all expecting at least a top 10 from it, top 5 maybe from AJ.
Coming to 6 laps to go. We'll see how things go at the short track that apparently, according to Dylan, is a road course. As we go 3 wide, 3 drivers having to serve drive-throughs. It's 3 wide again. Nyhoff, after being involved in one of the big stack-ups earlier, he's getting pushed into the wall by Conklin.
McCandless and Tucker, 2 of those drivers that had to serve a penalty, decided to go ahead and take it and serve it coming green, and that's going to help them big time. They might get saved from going a lap down. McCandless is. I don't think Tucker. I think Tucker is taking tires under his penalty, so that's going to hurt him after sending him a lap down.
What? Some caution flag is out because there was a spin out of turn 2. Larry Pace in the 5 truck. Larry Pace is not having a day. Philip Groner making him have to groan in sadness for the crash.
Yeah. But we'll, wow, no Larry Bird, but Larry Pace, we'll see here, kind of changed his lane in the braking zone, and I don't think Groner was expecting that to happen. You can't really, shift lanes when you're going into a corner and applying the brakes. We'll watch from Groner. He comes down low. Pace kind of came down on him. I think he would have been clear if Groner would have been clear if Pace didn't do that, but nonetheless, this might mean overtime, green-white checkered territory here if we don't get the 1 to go by next lap, which I don't believe we will. And did I say it was a road course?
Yes, you said
I
Shane
did.
Van Gisbergen's first road course.
Okay,
Well-
listen, when I think about Shane and racing, we all think road courses, but I think with that first short track experience, you like that? I actually did it the right way. He did
Well-
race at IRP in trucks. Which,
To add on to Dylan's point here, Larry Pace did turn the wheel hard right as he was getting spun to avoid spinning out. So I think you can call it a road course, no? Turn right to go left?
I mean, Lightning McQueen said that.
Exactly. Also, shout out SVG. Me and him both DNQ'd in the Arca Daytona race.
I
Well,
don't know what you're talking about.
well, it's time for the drivers to get prepared here. For those curious, still 2 drive-thrus to serve. Tucker and Blewett. McCandless did serve his penalty before the caution flag, so at the very least, Blake McCandless does stay on the lead lap via wave around. The other 2 still need to serve the drive-through under green to be able to serve their said penalty. For Tucker, because he went in the pit stall, he didn't really serve the penalty. Now,
He blew it all right.
as McCandless nearly jumps the gun for the wave around, green-white checker territory. If we take the white flag, the race goes to the checkered. If we have another caution, they'll re-rack them and stack them. There were 3 total attempts, meaning if we get a caution on the 3rd attempt, the race would end under yellow. And right now, Christopher Pfeffer looking to see if those 2 tires he took 47 laps ago still hold on for another 1.5 miles over Navarro and Brady.
We got plenty of green-white checkers if we need them, I believe. So some of these guys might be able to get a lap back like Tucker, and then talked about Joe Blue has to serve that penalty as well. That's going to ruin his run. Currently running currently running the 31st spot. But I think all Pfeffer wants to do here, get to the white flag, hold off Navarro if you can, and help the entire field wreck behind you.
We'll see if that happens. The memes would be glorious. But for the restart, if you're a fan of Toyotas, it's a 1, 2, 3 of the Toyota TRD Pro Trucks. First Ford is Matheson. First Chevy. You have to go to Clampett in 8th. Go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off, Justin. I'm just saying, for Pfeffer, this would be massive if he's able to get the win. 52nd in the standings after 3 races. So important to be consistent. If he can get the win here, I mean, that would just be gigantic.
Looking for his first top 5, let alone win of the season, and he does a money shift. Pfeffer in front of the field wrecks it. Caution flag is out. Oh my goodness, Christopher Pfeffer destroys the field with the biggest mistake of the season. Money shift and then some.
I was going to say he didn't have a single top 10 finish, looking pretty strong and going to fall way below the top 10. This might be our first mechanical D and F. I mean, he got air going into the wall, so we're going to set up for another green-white checkered, but we got 7, 8, 9, 10 double-digit trucks involved, all stacking up going into turn 1. I don't know if you get like a replay from maybe the grandstand. Here's an exit view. It's going to show the entire field stack up here. I mean,
Hit the chip and just did not get out of what sounded like first gear. Andrew Navarro.
Here's a big question. Did he go too early? Yeah, he went too early. Did he just do what I think he just did?
No. Yeah, look at the revs right there. If we go back to the front or the start of this in-car cam, you can see the revs. We'll get a replay here. Goes all the way up and it just stays there. He's trying to get it, I think, into second gear. It just would not go.
and it's almost like he hit the clutch and the shifter just didn't go into the gear, or I don't know if he's running an auto clutch setup because it's just set there pinned.
He's saying over the communications that he just could not get that truck into second gear. So that's so unfortunate, and you could see it, right? You could hear it from the in-car, in-truck, that he was hitting the chip, the rev limiter. He's not going to keep it in the red just to slow up the rest of the field.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Can confirm, as he was saying on radio, confirm with the gear sound, he was stuck in neutral for 3 seconds, and then the field, nowhere to go. And this really shuffles the field. Matheson, Smith, Navarro was your top three, but a lot of black flags for passing before the restart zone / the start and finish line. Kenny Brady, Casey Tucker, Sean Conklin, Dan Shamoon, Navarro, and Blewett now all have black flags, some for incident points, some for passing before the start and finish line.
Not just that, but we got 3 meatballs. Jerome currently have to come down and required repairs for those drivers. Dominic Lukomsky, Christopher Hill, and Eugene Miskanov. So if they're able to get these required repairs fixed and get back out on track with only a handful of laps of racing left, I don't think they're going to have a very strong finish of this race.
Yeah, everybody, even those who are part of the set community, are confirming stuck in first gear. Remember, the big thing right in here with the trucks, first gear restarts. You have to shift within 2 seconds. If you get that wrong, you just see what happened when it goes way wrong.
Yeah, unfortunate for a lot of drivers here, especially Christopher Hill. Also, his teammate, the Pfeffer, was way behind. They're currently Nick 5th or 6th, I believe, at the time of that wreck. There's nowhere to go. And that's going to leave a lot of damaged trucks. I mean, I don't want to think about what this would cost real life damage-wise for some of these guys, but it's going to shake up things a ton. I'm not sure, where did Navarro go in all of that?
Black flag. Oh, Mazganov just got disqualified. Somehow Mazganov, under the restart group up should say, just got himself DQ'd. So the 8 machine is gone.
Wow. Drama all race, and we're still having drama with our second attempt at a green-white checkered coming up. I know this would be big for a driver like Smith or Mahar, or of course Matheson, but Connor Shang is in the 300s in the standings right now. This could be life-changing.
Not sure the reason there. Luke Kempsky just got the same penalty. Let's do green-white checker number 2, and let's crash. One more try. 4 or 5 drivers made a pit lane before the yellow. Warman, Hogan around. And we're down to our final GWC.
Boyd Hogan, heck, not that, brother. Unfortunate end so far for him. It's going to even bring out more black flags, penalty drive for a lot of guys, including Boyd Hogan. See the restart. Hogan, I believe, it's 4th truck on that side. Big
same issue. Same issue. Hogan is saying that he could not get the truck in gear.
And I know there's a question, how could this be life-changing? This is definitely going to be changing the point standings after tonight, because this is the worst nightmare. You do not want Richmond as your draft after 3 straight draft tracks.
Not at all. Look at the replay of Hogan there. It seems to get stuck in neutral. I'm not really sure. Looking at the revs, it's hard to tell. He definitely makes it in the second. And just going up to 3rd, some happens. You can see just basically loses all drive. And the only drive he had was Quentin Warman's front bumper going through his rear end.
Well, there is one bright side. And I'm holding back the laughter because remember Max Brady and the incident after he got all the laps back? He's in 10th.
Look at him go.
Justin, I am so happy that you've just brought up that Max Brady, who was 7 laps down, is in the top 10 right now. This is an incredible turn of events for how he thought this race would go for himself. And hey, just goes to show you, might as well just keep going. 7 laps down, hey, could have given up.
I'm pretty certain a whole team is just erupting in cheers. But at this point, to regroup, Jake Matheson, former eNASCAR Coke driver, in the lead. Justin R. Smith, winner earlier the season, 2nd. Connor Shawn in 3rd. Where did Connor Shawn come from?
Well, I was talking about Shawn. He is 306th. 306th in the standings. When I say life-changing, it could be. It has the potential to be a building block of it. If he can get a good top 5 from this, in the top split, that would do wonders for his chances of being in the top 70 and being a part of this road to pro going into the second half of the year. Could you imagine if he got a win, though?
Still need to survive to the checker flag here. Still expecting wave around soon, including Shamoon Tucker. Those waves. That would put Shamoon last on the lead lap in 29th. Lots of drive-throughs. Hogan joining the drive-through club. Casey Tucker just confirmed he didn't know the penalty was a drive-through for incident limit. He is a former driver of the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And the rest of the field is about to get ready for the one to go. Again, if we get a caution flag, race finishes under yellow. If we take the white, it's game on to the checkered. Oh, look, the sun's out.
The track temperature has risen 2 degrees Fahrenheit, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference, but it is aesthetically pleasing.
Well, let me tell you, Dylan, the track might not be getting hot, but the tempers are definitely flaring.
That's just a wonderful way to cap off this final restart here.
All set to go. Mile and a half to decide it. Do we get to the white flag? Does Matheson hold on? He's the last standing out of the 2 tires calls, let alone those who took 4 and started top 5 last couple restarts. Back underway. His teammate Connor Shawn looking for second, falls him through. Here comes Brad Mahar for third.
Dustin Smith is using the high side advantage, trying to get a better drive off the corner, currently in that 3rd spot. You got Mahar on the bottom. It's going to be Connor Shawn in second. Jake Matheson continues to lead the way, looking to get the white flag this time by.
Coming through 3 and 4. Some drivers ducked into the apron. White flag. Final time around brought to you by Maconi Entertainment. It's 1 to go. Jake Matheson needed big points last time out. Got those big points. This time out, not only does he put himself back into the conversation to advance, he gets himself the points he needs. Crash in the 20s, but for Jake Matheson, he'll crash the party to victory lane and win at Richmond.
Definitely a much needed points for him. He missed Daytona, already had 2 top 10s in 2 starts, followed by a 4th at Vegas, but go ahead and seal the deal with a win. This would definitely give him some much needed points over guys like Chris Mercurio, Hill, and Navarro, all which finishing pretty far back. I believe Mercurio is the highest of those I just mentioned in 10th. So a lot of points. And Max Brady for income 8 as well.
This is really going to shake up the standings once we finally do get them certified in final. I mean, it's going to make that top 70 split look a little bit more dangerous as we continue on here throughout the spring. But got to give a shout out to Connor Shawn for finishing in second, started 27th. Lace Crawford, second to last. He didn't qualify. He didn't have a time. He started 34th, finishes 6th. And come on, Max Brady finishes 8th, 7 laps down. Come on.
What a race. A team 1-2 for Nexus Esports. Let's take a quick step aside. We can come back. Post-race coverage, race results, and more. You're watching Maconi Entertainment and iRacing from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage of eNASCAR in the qualifying iRacing series, the first round of the Road to Pro ladder here on iRacing social media platforms in Maconi Entertainment. Justin Prince, Braden Laster, Dylan Coyle with you, Brendan Rodley Cooper producing. Let's take a look at your official race results in the next moment or so, because this is definitely going to be a championship definer for some. A crazy finish and a crazy second half as a whole. Matheson, Sean, Smith, your top 3. Matheson holds on after being the last standing amongst the 2 tire call makers. Michael Mitchum, would you believe it? After being in the 30s much of the day, finishes 4th over Brad Mahar. Blaze Crawford, Omar Diallo, he recovers from early incidents to 7th. Max Brady from 7 laps down, finishes 8th. Atby and Mercurial, your top 10.
Xander Nyhoff going to be up almost 20, or actually over 20 spots to finish 11th. Logan Clamp involved in a lot of wrecks tonight. Has a solidly strong finish. 12th, Matthew Morton. 13th, Daniel Smallwood, also another driver we talked about in a lot of incidents as well. He's going to be 14th. Michael Frisch, I'm not going to quote him verbatim, but basically said, not good race, guys. Not good race. Bringing home 15th, Philip Groner in 16th. Blake McCandless tried to fuel strat early and decided to play a wrecking ball, going bringing home 17th. Kevin King in 18th. Andrew Fairnash in 19th. Larry Pace, after having to serve a late race drive-through penalty, finished with a top 20. Good run for him, finding Christopher Hill in 21st. Pfeffer leading the race with that first green white checker, not able to get it in gear, fades all the way back to 22nd after leading 29 laps. Quentin Warman 23rd. Dan Camoon 24th. Michael DeYoung in 25th, Boyd Hogan, heck yeah, brother, in 26th, Andrew Navarro 27th, Casey Tucker 28th, Jacob Schneider leads 81 laps en route to 29th, Sean Conklin 1 lap down as well in 30th, Nathan Nicholson 1 lap down, 2, Joe Blewett, Eugene Mazganov, Kenny Brady, and Dominic Dukomsky all going around at the field. Mazganov, Brady, and Dukomsky, you're on the DNFs.
And that was an interesting one, to say the least. Let's get some words, though. A Nexus 1-2. Jake Matheson gets himself a win on the short track. Jake, I know this is a track you really like to race at, but a definite result in terms of how it went to get here that wasn't expected. How would you describe getting Nexus to victory lane and top split this season now at Richmond?
Oh, that race was just an absolute that was a ride and a half. Halfway through the race, taking those 2 tires, I felt like was definitely the good call. It helped me fire off on the restarts and keep my position, so that really helped out. Just overall, good racing up front. Had a lot of fun. A lot of cautions there at the end, but you'll have that in bigger jobs. Just need to thank the boys at Nexus. They put together an absolute rocket shit of a race car today. So I just can't thank them enough for everything. I also got to thank Front Row Motorsports, Infinity Communications Group. My buddy Devin O'Connell here, he's letting me use his rig. I'm actually 2,000 miles away from my usual rig, so I got to thank him for letting me use this today. And thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's good to see. It's good to get us the exposure for this Road to Pro series. It's a lot of good racing, a lot of good names in here. So thank you guys.
First of all, very lucky rig. You should keep it. Second thing second. And here, of course, you missed the opening race this season, and one of the main talking points throughout the broadcast the past 3 weeks is you need to do good. You need to get the points. You need to get the points. How is this now in the mindset, knowing you've already have a 0 for your drop from Daytona, but you've gotten now 3 top 10s, including this win and the top 5 at Vegas to show for it since?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Good points days. You always gotta love a good points day. That's what this round one's all about. Just getting as many points as you can, get yourself above the cut line. So having that 0 hanging over my head, obviously it's not as relaxed as I'd like to be. but these finishes, they just, they do good for the points. So just really happy to be here. Glad things worked out the way they did.
Well, Jake, once again, congratulations on the victory. We'll see how things go next time in Texas.
Thank you, guys.
Jake Matheson, the first half of a 1-2 team finish for Nexus Esports. Second place is with Braden Laster. Say hello to Connor Sean.
Connor, you brought it home second place tonight after a wild series event to round out that one. What little more did you need to get around and get to Jake Matheson if you could have?
Honestly, I don't know if there would have been much I would be able to do. He's pretty fast, and we were on same setup, so I mean we were both pretty equal. But yeah, I was just happy to make it through all the wrecks and keep it in one piece. So yeah.
Another big talking point for us in the broadcast booth tonight is you came into the ninth race after a rough start to the season, not having a higher finish or a better finish than 18th at Vegas. You were 306 in the Road to Pro standing. Just definitely a much needed point tonight. And talk about how you're going to be able to set yourself up though from this and hopefully carry the momentum into the second half of the season.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough start. I'm super happy to get second. But just gotta keep this momentum going. I know that everyone who's been helping at Nexus Esports with the setups and stuff, they build awesome setups. It's a great group of people over there. I've been with them for a couple years now, and it's a super awesome group to be a part of. So that's gonna be my main help, keeping this momentum rolling.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your second place run tonight.
Thank you.
It's going to Connor Sean coming away second. Third spot went to Justin R. Smith, yet again on the podium. Justin R. Smith this time catching up with Dylan Coyle.
Yeah, Justin, you're halfway through the first half of this Road to Pro season of 2024. It feels like it's a gauntlet, right? You got to just survive some of it. We've gone through 3 draft pack-based tracks. You've picked up a win at one of them, and then you come here, and it feels almost like chaos all over. Is it just about surviving at this point? Maybe the type of driving, the desperation changes in the second half of the year?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I said that at the audio at the start of the race. I was like, I just don't want to get killed this race. Just stay out of the trouble, and we'll come out of here good. And then that first caution came out, getting close to halfway, and after it took 4 tires, we were another 20-30 laps, and then took 2 and picked up a bunch of spots that way, and made my bed there. And I was like, all right, this is how it's gonna go. And yeah, just literally just stay out of trouble, and picked up pretty much all my spots that way.
Looking at the standings as they're being updated, you're around 193 points, unofficially above that cut line. What number makes you feel comfortable, and is there any number that makes you feel comfortable before the 8-race stretch ends?
I mean, with races like that just happened, no, there's nothing that makes you comfortable until it says you're locked in. As long as there's chaos, yeah, you're not comfortable until you get done.
All right, Justin. Well, I appreciate the time, and hey, congrats on the 3rd place finish. Another podium for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just want to say thank you to Team Conti. They've been a huge help. Dustin Hall building the setups, Adam Benefield, Logan Clampett, and Kevin King were huge help this week driving this place. They've been around for a really long time, and I learned a lot from them this week. And fortunately, they didn't get as good a finish as I did, but they deserve a lot of credit. And then Nick Ottinger on the box, he's invaluable to have. So yeah, thank all those guys, and thank you all for broadcasting.
Not a problem. Congratulations once again. Justin?
Once again, congratulations, Jake Matheson, Connor Sean, Justin R. Smith for the top 3. Once again, thank you to them for taking time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on iRacing, social media platforms, and Maconi Entertainment. What a race, first of all. I'll turn to you, Braden. Your thoughts on what we've seen here. A lot of attrition late, but the action track going to action track.
100%. I think having drafting tracks be their first 3 races of the season really set the tone for a lot of these guys. A lot of them not having great points runs, and they needed tonight to be a good run. Unfortunately, some of them were a little too, I want to say, heavy on the throttle to get to the front, try and get those points, and resulted in 12, 13 cautions. I'm not sure what the final tally was, but it was pretty high up there. Definitely going to probably be a season high, and I think some of the guys are going to look back at this and be like, hey, we need to change the way we do things. You want to get points. I mean, Navarro led 78 laps and finished outside the top 30 almost.
Yeah, was able to serve his black flag on the final restart. However, way far back in the field in the end because of that. Dylan, he still comes in with the drop as the points leader for Texas, but Jake Matheson, he's on a hot streak. 100 points back of the overall lead for round one because of this win tonight.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive for Jake to get that win. I mean, finishes 10th at Atlanta, 4th at Las Vegas. So it's not like he's had bad results, not like he's had results that I feel like is not worthy of a top 70 driver. But when you do have your drop week already used, it's quite uncomfortable the rest of the way. You got to go 7 straight races with good luck, good fortune. 70 drivers make it. It's easier said than done. A win here is massive to get to that point. Halfway through, Justin.
Yes, indeed, and that's how quick the season's gone. Hasn't felt like halfway through, but Texas Motor Speedway will kick things out for the next stretch of the season. Once again, that's April the 11th. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch that on Maconi Entertainment and as well at iRacing social media platforms to see if everyone gets their Texas two-step down a 1.5-mile circuit. 2 different corner banking differences. Turns 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4. We'll see who conquers which next time out in Texas. But after a night of some of the most intense competition you can find on the iRacing service, we wrap things up here. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, joined alongside once again by ARC Menard Series racer Braden Laster and by Colleague Racing's Dylan Coyle. Robbie Cooper once again producing tonight's coverage. Thanks to all our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks once more to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.